Hello Gemini, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your recent past, current energy, and immediate future, answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self? Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate, if anything, that helps your personal situation, and leave what does not. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Gemini, let's jump on in here. Let's start by looking at your recent past energy. What has Gemini been dealing with, and what do they need to know about it? What has Gemini been dealing with in their recent past? Go for it. Face your fears. Interesting. Okay. So I feel like this is either something that you have done or something that you've been contemplating. I feel like there is some sort of a move, some sort of a change, some sort of a leap of faith that you're definitely being pulled toward. However, I feel like there's a lot of fear in association with whatever this might be. I mean, you have watch for signs here, so I feel like it's something that you've been very guided to, but I feel like I said, there is a lot of fear that maybe has you in this energy of like second guessing it or questioning whether or not it's the right move for you, or like wondering if you're good enough, or like if it's gonna work out. And I feel like this is just like double confirmation of absolutely you should go for it. It means saying go for it with watch for signs. Again, depending on what collective I'm speaking to, this is either something that a move that you've already made, or a move that like you've been contemplating making and are wanting to make here. So what does Gemini need to know about their current energy? And maybe you did make the leap and now you're kind of dealing with a lot of the fear. So maybe now you're second guessing the decision. I feel like whatever this is talking about, though, it's definitely the right move for you. What does Gemini need to know about their current energy? You have shadow work and communicate. Ooh, and synchronicity. Oh, I feel like these two, and abundance. Okay, that was hidden. I feel like these two together, the synchronicity and this communicate card, is definitely this energy that your spiritual team is communicating with you through synchronicity. So I feel like you could be seeing repeating numbers, or you could be seeing just repeating signs in some way, shape, or form. And I feel like that's definitely like this confirmation that you're on the right path. However, with this shadow work card, when we're experiencing the energy of shadow work, we're definitely being required to face the not so fun stuff about ourselves and about the ways that we tend to hold ourselves back. You know, the life that we desire is on the other side of all of the things that we fear. And a lot of what we fear stems from what we believe about ourselves. We know we fear failure because we feel like we're not good enough. We fear being alone forever because we feel that we're not lovable. And so a lot of times what we're afraid of on the outside is a pretty direct reflection of something that we feel on the inside. And a lot of times when we're navigating new beginnings in our life, or changes, or new opportunities, or whatever the case is, we're kind of required to face a lot of those things within ourselves. But while you're doing that, Gemini, you need to know that like you are very divinely guided and supported. So keep an eye out for those things, those synchronicities, because they can kind of be this little wink from the universe of like, hey, we're here, you're not alone, you're supported, like you're guided, everything's going to be okay. And I think that this abundance card was kind of hidden on purpose. I feel like there's definitely you're heading toward, I feel like, more abundance in your life should you make some sort of a move, or because of a move that you made. Again, I feel like I'm speaking to a split collective here. I feel like I'm speaking to a collective that has made some sort of move, and I feel like I'm speaking to a collective that needs to. Either way, I feel like this move, whatever that is for you, is definitely moving you toward more abundance in your life, whether that's love or maybe it's like literally like has to do with money, maybe it's more peace, whatever the case is. I feel like whatever change this is trying to guide you closer to that. But I feel like right now you're kind of in that period of working through maybe the fear, the doubt, the insecurity, all of the things that maybe have kept you from making that move, or that in general have kind of kept you in your comfort zone. And now that you've kind of stepped outside your comfort zone, you're having to face those things. So I do feel like your spiritual team wants you to see those signs that they're sending you, those messages that they're sending you. Like I said, in kind of the form of repeating numbers, or, I mean, the signs can come in so many different ways. Like you could see a lot of feathers. I know that white feathers was a huge one for me for a while. Numbers has always been a big one. There's so many different ways that synchronicity can appear in our lives. So what does Gemini need to know about where this is taking them? What does Gemini need to know about where this is taking them? Releasing the law of attraction. Ooh. Okay. So this is definitely about creating the life that you deserve and ultimately desire. And I feel like there's something, whatever this move that you might be feeling guided to make or called to make is trying to lead you closer to that life. But I feel like it requires you to let go of some sort of safety net. Maybe it's leaving a job to start a business, like that kind of vibe. I'm not saying that's exactly what it is. Or leaving a relationship that isn't just serving you to open up to one that really does. I don't know. It's like we're leaving some sort of comfort zone, some sort of safety net to open up to the possibility of something better. And I feel like the biggest thing that's holding you back is holding on really tightly to whatever you're being asked to let go of. And I think that that's natural and normal and understandable. But I also feel at the same time as if that's why the universe really wants you to know how supported you truly are, because this might go against like what makes the most sense logically, but it's actually the best decision for you in some way. I don't know. That sounds weird because it's like obviously you want to be logical in your decision making, but sometimes we have to have a little bit more faith, right? To be able to say, yeah, this is taking a risk, or yes, this is, this is kind of a scary move, or whatever the case is, but it's only leading me to better. And I feel like as you move forward, it's almost like being willing to navigate this process. It's like your success in whatever this is guaranteed, as long as you don't give up on it. Like the success is guaranteed. It's not guaranteed that you will commit to the path, though, I guess is really what it is. Which I feel like you will. I'm just saying, the outcome is there. Okay, let's get you an overall theme for this reading. What does Gemini need to know in order to move forward in alignment with their higher self? Overall theme for this reading for Gemini. Release. So yeah, something. And then power. Something is squandering, the word that came to mind. Your power in some way, your confidence. You don't need whatever you're clinging to. You don't need it. I don't know. You don't need it. You're capable of creating whatever that's providing you for yourself in some way. I don't know, but seeing release twice, right? That's definitely about letting go of something to make room for something better, something more aligned. But that's, I think, always the hardest thing. Because sometimes we're like, well, what if this is as good as it ever gets? Or what if I fail? Or What if nothing better ever comes along? It's like all of those what ifs, right? The fears that keep you kind of trapped in comfort or in control in some way, like that's actually what's keeping you from the outcome that you are truly looking for. So let's see, Gemini. Start with this recent past energy. You have faced your fears with go for it. So let's dive in a little bit deeper here. What has Gemini been dealing with, and what do they need to know about it? Reset past for Gemini. What has Gemini been dealing with? Page of Cups in reverse. Okay. So that to me is like divine guidance available for you, but not listening to it, or like not being open to it. Yeah. So this is interesting. I feel like you're being called to something, or have been being called to something, to a certain career, or to making a certain change in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's changing a bad habit, or like, I don't know. I don't necessarily know what it is. And I don't want to guess, because that's for you to know. But I feel like whatever, this Eight of Swords is this indication that you've kind of been trapped in a reality that is a reflection of your limiting beliefs, which basically means the life that you're in, or the reality that you're in some situation. This can mean like specifically in love and your career, or it could mean in your life in general. And it's almost as if the universe is trying to pull you out of complacency in some way, because I feel like there's this energy of not necessarily being happy, but being like things are very predictable, like feeling very secure in something, but it's not what you want in a way. And I feel like with this Wheel of Fortune, the universe is trying to turn the wheel in your favor, like trying to make things better for you here. But I also feel that there's a lot of fear regarding making a certain change, because of you would lose that control. You'd lose the predictability of whatever you're in. Now, I will say, one of the things I talk about a lot is that, our egos tend to prefer a familiar hell over the possibility of an unfamiliar heaven. And the reason for that is that we get so comfortable in that survival, and we know that we can survive it, that without even realizing it, we might even be subconsciously choosing it. Now, I don't want that to sound like it's your fault that things aren't, happening the way that you want them to. But sometimes looking at the deeper parts of our beliefs and the ways that we hold ourselves back can give us more control and power over our life. Like this energy was talking about power. And our power doesn't stem from our power over our circumstances. Our power stems from our ability to know that we can handle whatever life throws at us, and that we're willing to put ourselves in positions of always trying to improve our life, even if we do have to face the short-term discomfort that kind of comes with that. And I feel like it's almost like the universe is trying to get you into alignment, like I said, with more abundance or with better situations. But again, I kind of feel like there's this energy of really holding on to what's predictable, or what is safe, almost like safe in a sense of like it feels safe because it's within your control, but it's not actually safe. Like the story that comes to mind, Jim Carrey told this story. He said that his dad was always a very talented comedian, but that when he was younger, he chose not to pursue his career in comedy and chose to pursue a safer career in accounting. But then when he was like 10 years old, he ended up getting laid off. So it was like the safe choice ended up not actually being the safe choice. And I think that sometimes we choose what feels the safest because it feels the most predictable and within our control, but that might actually be what's keeping us from the best possible option for us. So it kind of feels like the universe might be shaking things up to get you to move in some way. Because again, it does feel like the universe is trying to move the wheel in your favor. But again, there's this energy, like with the Page of Cups in reverse, of really holding on to the way that things are or the way that they have been, even though you're not happy with it, even though it's not what you want. Which might be why you're kind of, being asked to go within and look at the fears that you have or the limiting beliefs that you have that might be holding you back from being able to, step out of your comfort zone in some way, which I want to make very clear is a completely natural and normal human thing, to want to stay in your comfort zone. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's not that there should be any shame or that there's any judgment or blame in this reading. I think that sometimes we don't even realize that we're choosing our comfort zone. And sometimes we choose our comfort zone in the name of logic or in the name of it makes the most sense. But sometimes we don't realize that that's just a justification to not have to face the unknown or have to face things that we are afraid of. And the more willing that we are to face our fears and to show up regardless of those fears, the more that we actually are able to create what it is that we truly want. Current energy for Gemini, synchronicity with shadow work. So what does Gemini need to know about their current energy? That was kind of a longer message, but I feel like it's important because I feel like you've been dealing with this energy. I feel like this is something that you've been contemplating for a while or something that you've been called to for a while. And I kept being drawn to the synchronicity card. It's got a clock on it. It's almost like the time is now. Like the time is now to make the change. The time is now to act. The time is now to choose or something. Current energy for Gemini. What does Gemini need to know? The Four of Pentacles in reverse. So there's this fear of instability, or this feeling even of instability. So maybe, the Seven of Swords. Interesting. The Hangman, the Knight of Pentacles. So there's this feeling of instability. Which can always make it really hard to, and again, I'm going to go back to, the idea of leaving a job to start a business just because that's the example that came into my mind. So that does not have to be what's happening in your life whatsoever, okay? That's not just explaining the energy. It's hard to, you're I don't want to leave my job to start a business if I'm already, struggling financially. I don't want to just do that. Even though starting the business might actually help you make more money than you're able to make at your current job. So I feel like it's easy to be, to say, make these decisions, take this leap, trust in the process and things like that. But in actual practice, it's not always so easy because we look around at our circumstances and we look at the things that we're afraid of and the things that aren't what we want them to be, and we say, well, what I need to do is I need to figure out what's within my power and my control to make sure that I don't, end up in a worse place. And again, that's logic, right? That's logical. That makes plenty of sense. But what if there was a path or there was an option or there was a choice or this specific change would actually take you to better places than staying where you're at will take you? And I think that the Seven of Swords, and why I said this is interesting, is it feels like there's almost plans being laid in your favor, things that you're unaware of, almost as if, I don't know, things are kind of are happening for you in the background. Think 5D energy, I guess, your spiritual team's got your back kind of thing. And I feel like that's what they're trying to tell you through this synchronicity, through the repeating numbers or whatever signs you might be seeing. And you're really being asked to let go. You're really being asked to let go of your control. And I think that it's almost like looking at your circumstances and saying, regardless of where things are at, I know my heart or my soul is being called to making this change. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make this change. I'm going to take this step because I know that that's what's going to take me to where I'm trying to go anyway. But that's the hardest part, right? Is letting go of the control. So I don't know. I feel like that's where you're being asked to kind of turn within and ask yourself, okay, the first doubt that comes to mind, it's not going to work, or I'm not going to find anything better, start to dive deeper into that. Like, instead of asking, I'm not going to find anything better, start to ask, well, why do I think that? Well, I don't really think that I'm deserving of much more than what I have right now. And then start to kind of uncover where that stems from. It's really diving in deep to understanding how our life genuinely is a reflection of what we believe that we deserve and are capable of, and also what we believe we're supported in. And the ways that you believe aren't your fault. You know, they tend to be a product of what we have experienced, what we have gone through, and how we've internalized those experiences. But that does not mean that those are true. It means that they're true for you and they're valid and you deserve to think and feel that way. But it doesn't mean that they fundamentally have to be true in your life. You know, 95% of our movements, choices, and decisions stem from our subconscious. Only 5% of the way we interact with our reality is conscious level decision making, meaning 95% of the decisions that you make, or the energy that you put into your decisions, is coming from this place of the beliefs that you have acquired throughout your life. So if you've acquired beliefs such as I'm not good enough, or I'm not capable, or I'm not deserving, or it can't happen for me, or the universe isn't supporting me, you're going to make decisions coming from that place without even realizing it, because that's the way your subconscious is wired. So whenever you want your life to change, the number one thing that you have to be willing to do is look at why you are afraid to make that change, and where that belief, what belief is kind of getting in the way of that. Because I feel like, again, there's this energy of lacking fulfillment, lacking joy, lacking happiness, but yet not wanting to make the change to make things better because of some sort of fear. And the fear is probably completely logical. Okay, so I'm not taking away from your experience or your validity in making whatever decision that you're making. What I am saying is, if you were to believe that there was possibility out there beyond what you're currently experiencing, would you be staying where you're at, or would you be making decisions to make moves? I think that sometimes we have to ask ourselves, is my life a product of my choice, or is my life a product of just what has happened? And I think that when we start to look at our life from this place of, I want to intentionally and consciously choose every single thing that I invest in, so that my life is a product of what I desire instead of a product of just what I think is possible, even if it's limited. That's where we can start to make choices. So I feel like whatever move you're being asked to make, or maybe even have made, it's probably a big one, and it's probably not easy, to make this move. So please don't think that I'm like, it's easy, just do it. Okay? Because if it were easy, you probably wouldn't be watching this reading right now. But it's not easy, and there's probably a lot of fear that has held you back from it for a while. But I do feel like whatever this is, like it is the right choice for you. I don't know what it's about. I don't know what it's something that you're like, you want, something that you really desire, something that it's like the thought of it excites you, but it doesn't feel possible. Maybe it's, loving, being successful in that business, or maybe it's finding a partner that, feels like the perfect person for you, that loves you and accepts you. And, maybe it's, I don't want to dream for you. You know what you want, right? Or maybe you don't, and maybe that's the problem. But I do feel like it's almost as if there's this energy of kind of playing it small, or settling in some ways in your life because you think you have to. Again, probably for logical reasons, but it's almost like the universe is asking you to dream a little bit bigger and to believe in your potential a little bit more, because I think that there's more for you out there than you even think that there is right now. All right, what does Gemini need to know moving forward? What does Gemini need to know about their immediate future? Ooh, Two of Pentacles, the World, and the Empress. Ooh, I love this. I think that I've really learned that life can either be a product of what you're given, or a product of what you choose to do what you're given, to do with what you're given. And, I think about, and I'll get to this in a second, but this matters, okay? This is coming through. I think about like what my life used to be, what my relationships used to be like, what my career used to be like, what my financial situation used to be like. And all of it was very unfulfilling, but also a product of very limiting belief-based decisions. I was in a job that I hated, but I thought that I needed because I thought I needed to be successful, like uber successful, and I thought I needed to work myself to the bone in order to do that, in order to be happy. And I was forcing relationships with unhealthy people because I was unhealthy, and there were so many different things that I was doing because I didn't realize what was truly possible for my life. And the universe, like, one at a time, just kind of ripped those things from my life, like from my grasp, and was like, not this, not this, not this. And for a while, I was really left with, oh, okay, so I'm deserving of nothing. Like, if I can't even have these things, I might as well have nothing. And in reality, the universe is trying to set me up for opening my heart and my soul up to so much even more than I really thought was possible for me. And sometimes we don't realize how the things that we're clinging to and things that we think that we need is really just a reflection of what the limit that we believe our life has. Now, that limit that you believe your life has is not your fault. It's a product of what you've been through, right? We kind of already talked about that. So as you move forward, you're being asked to reprioritize. And instead of prioritizing what you need to do to cling to what you have, but is it making you happy, prioritizing letting go of those things and being open to new, more aligned opportunities. Because this Empress is all about standing in your power of choosing yourself and showing up for yourself and trusting in a life that's beyond what you currently think is possible. And right now you're in this cycle of like settling and complacency. And I feel like this reading is coming off as really harsh, like tough love truth, but that's not, I hope that it's being received well, because I get it. It's so natural and so normal. And most people in this world are actually living a life of complacency. Like, most people are not living a life of their dreams, right? But that's because most people don't realize that it is possible to live a life of your dreams. But the problem is that different people have been given different tools for their life. Like, you might not believe it's possible because of, what your economic status growing up, or because you were told that you're dumb or that you're not pretty your whole life, or whatever the case is. Like, each person doesn't realize that they have the unlimited potential to create the life that they desire, but that they've been taught differently. So some people do realize that potential because maybe it was easier for them, or maybe they did the work to make that happen, and some people don't. Most people don't, because it's really, really hard to do that work. It's hard to take steps out of your comfort zone. It's hard to make change. It's hard to choose yourself. It's hard to believe in better. But I feel like the more that you do that, and it's a one step at a time kind of thing, but the more that you do that, the more you're going to create it. I've always said that really all you need to do is get really, really clear on what it is that you want in this life, no matter what that looks like. Get super uber clear on that, and then say no to anything that isn't that. It's really that simple. In theory, not so much in practice, because it requires you to have really high standards for yourself and for what it is that you deserve, which a lot of times we tend to bend those standards because we think that we have to or that we need to. So I feel like that's what this is really about, is like no more settling, no more accepting less than what you want or what you deserve, and be willing to believe in your ability to create more. And I think that when you kind of step into that power, you start to realize, I mean, at least from my experience, whenever I kind of stepped into that power of like being open to creating more for myself, and being open to the unlimited possibility that this life held, it was almost like this wake-up call of like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, we're also capable of so much in this world. We've just been taught differently, or society has held us back in some way, or we think about success in a different way than what it really means to us, which might actually be more about your peace of mind and your financial freedom than it is about making $1 million or being, I don't know. Like, what I'm getting at is that changing your mindset about where you're headed, instead of looking at it from this place of I need to avoid a fear, instead look at it from this place of I am chasing the life of my dreams, or I'm going after the life of my dreams. That little mindset switch can stop you from making decisions that don't really align with you, or staying in places that don't really serve you. feel like going on a tangent there, but I feel like we brought it back. I hope that makes sense. I feel like it's so much easier in theory, so much more difficult in practice. So I think I often get comments that are like, oh, it's easier said than done. Of course it is. You know, I know that when I kind of started making these changes, I was like, oh my gosh, everybody needs to know about this. And so I started making a career out of it because I am so passionate about the possibility that exists in this world, but I also know what it's like to look at that possibility in the face and say, no way, that's too good to be true. So it isn't too good to be true. You can have the life that you deserve and desire. It's kind of up to you to create it, but it's also not as simple as that. Okay. We're going to hop on over to the extended. We're going to dive deeper into these messages, answering the question what you can do right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Any information for that is in the description box below. And we're going to kind of just dive more into the tangible advice in the extended. So thank you so much, Gemini, as always, for your support of my channel. I do hope that this reading helped and resonated with you, obviously, in a way that you were needing today. And as always, Gemini, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Gemini.